I've been trying to sleep for quite a bit now. Um, Yesterday, I was awake until around 4 or 5 a.m. and I couldn't get to sleep. Today has been the same. I haven't been able to sleep. But there's been a thought that's been on my mind. Usually, when I can't sleep, I have a lot of thoughts like this. And I thought, why do I call myself Infinite Outlaw? Why have I continued to call myself that? And that's because I make infinite videos. You see lots and lots of these coming out all the time. But there's the 2 week periods or the 1 month periods in which sometimes that isn't the case. I decide I don't have any ideas, or maybe I'm just not in the mood, and then I don't. Does that mean that my content is less infinite in some way? That I produce less of it? It means I produce less of it, but that doesn't mean that the week that I spent putting out 3 videos a day somehow just didn't exist, and how there's been many weeks that are like that. But the name, the need to get rid of the name doesn't really have to do with the fact that the premise of it is somehow untrue. It has to do with the fact that simply making a lot of stuff isn't the entirety of the Infinite Outlaw identity. Sometimes you just want to be referred to by a name, a username, an internet name. It might not necessarily have a lot of meaning in it, but it's what you're called. The meaning is the fact that people come to you and they tell you that's who you are, that's your name. I used to be in this chat called Shonen Hell. And when I was in there, my friends in that chat had helped me through a really severe time in my life, circumstantially and on the internet. A lot of bad stuff was happening. And the fact that I had them kind of pulled me through that time. There was a name. There was a name that they gave me. It was Star. They called me Star. And many of my friends still call me Star. It wasn't something I came up with. My ego didn't impose that name. I didn't say you should call me this because I believe these are the attributes that I have. I was called that because the people around me said that's who I was. Collectively, they decided these are the traits that I embody based off of my behaviors. The name itself has meaning because the people who gave me the name gave me that name. The meaning is that I was valuable enough to those people to warrant a special name, to warrant an identity in their eyes that was beyond the one that I had created, that they had given me enough thought to do something like that. People, successful people, tend to have something like that. You look at AMLO in Mexico, if you want to talk about a political example. The people call him that because that name signifies hope in their minds. I mean, AMLO's done some good things. I don't like him too much just because he's a little bit of a religious, he's kind of crazy with the religion stuff. I think he has good intentions. But what matters is that to the Mexican people, his approval rating, the fact that he's the most popular Mexican president in history, and the fact that the people identify him with hope and change and virtue and honesty and courteousness is why they call him that, is why they're able to say AMLO is the people, AMLO represents us, AMLO is our guy. We call him that because that name has meaning within us, and because that name has meaning within us, we're going to plaster it everywhere. We're going to say, Amlo is the people. He's our guy. And so, when you're a figure, or even a friend, the nickname that someone else gives you is a sign. It's a sign of respect, and it's a sign of care. Someone cares about you. They see you as an equal. Or, in that case, they see you as someone who represents some kind of big change. The respect is placed in the identity of the name. Of course, in my case, it had to do with equaling out the playing field, to say you're one of us, not, you're this great guy. I'm not that. But thinking about that, thinking about what that name symbolizes, and the fact that Star is who I am, because who I am is simply a bunch of social relations of other people. The reason I am the way that I am is because of the friends and the family that I've had. It's because of the media that I've consumed. The human beings, they're not just individuals partaking in a system, going out to get their own. They're not that. They're not looking for their own private means. Human beings participate in a group. They participate in a harmonious society. And the reason they are the way that they are is because that society, because the media influences, because the human influences within their life have conditioned them to be that way. And so when I think of who I am, I can't just espouse my own accomplishments. I can't say, I am Infinite Outlaw because I believe I make a lot of videos. I am Infinite Outlaw because I believe I've accomplished these things. I say, I am Star because the people around me who do believe in me and who have said I am their friend believe that I am Star. It doesn't take away from those other things that I've done. But the core identity, the person who I am, is as a result of other people. If I didn't have my friends, I wouldn't be here. If I didn't have certain media influences, if you've watched my channel long enough, you certainly know I wouldn't be here. And the reason why is because of the harmoniousness of that society. Because it is a collective. It's not a bunch of individuals trying to find private things. We are who we are because of the people we live with. We are who we are because of our friends. And that's something you have to keep in mind, and we lose sight of it. I do too. I have many times. And I've done really bad things because of that. But you have to keep that in mind. That the reason you are as you are is because of other people. And the person you are, while it is an individual, it's also an individual made of influences. And I feel like my name, Infinite Outlaw, that I've chosen for myself, that I've said, that's who I am, has a certain egotism to it. Because the fact that I've chosen that name, and I've said that represents who I am, that is who I am, it's about self-aggrandizement. It's about saying, I believe this is what I am, I believe this is what I consist of. The name Star was given to me. It wasn't me saying, this is absolutely who I am. This is all the things that I've done. Let me brag about it. That wasn't the symbol behind the name. The symbol behind the name was friendship. It was the acknowledgement of me as a human being. It was the respect placed in me as a human being, as an equal. And then the fact that the effort was put in to identifying me with such a name given to me by that collective was, it was an act of care by that group. And I don't forget that. I don't forget that ultimately I am Star because I am the society, you know? I am a collection of influences. I'm not one single influence influencing everybody else just because I exist, you know? I'm the way I am because the social relations exist. You can't exist outside of that. Human beings in some way are always giving or taking from other people. That's the nature of how a society can work. Hunter-gatherer societies needed that. They needed that for stability. The modern day needs that for stability. Because if we don't live together, we can't build things. If we can't build things, we can't survive. We need other people. That's why we react with empathy when we see other people in pain. A lot of people have a harder time doing that now because the specific society we live in discourages it, but it is a natural reaction people have. And the reason that's encoded in us is for that very reason. It's for survival. It's because you have to care about the people in your group, because ultimately those people are going to affect you. And I talked in my video about how everything is connected. I made this video about 5 months ago. About how if I go outside and I save a homeless person, you know, I give them that little push that they needed forward, that they couldn't make on their own. And then that person becomes the next accomplished author, and their book influences, I don't know, some kind of IT professor that shows up in the future. He's gonna invent something that benefits society. But the fact that I went out and did that thing for that person caused a ripple effect of positive things to happen in the future. It was an uptick. Everything that you do is connected in some way to something else. I can't feed the homeless without the impact of feeding the homeless being felt by someone else. The fact that the homeless continue being alive and eventually build something of themselves will ultimately influence the life of someone else, and if that person becomes successful, and if they invent something that benefits society, or even if they build a building that I'm going to live in, that affected me. Helping people always will. It may not be obvious in the short term. In the short term, I personally will feel the pleasure of doing it because I know it's the right thing. But in the long term, most people cannot see it, that it will change something. It will help to help other people. It'll benefit you directly, to keep other people afloat and alive, and to help them excel and succeed. Because those people, if they're not the next people who are going to push society forward, then someone they know is going to push society forward. Someone they told, don't ever give up because I never did, is going to push society forward. And that is immensely important. When I call myself Star, when I change the name of this YouTube channel to something much less marketable than Infinite Outlaw, much less distinct compared to Infinite Outlaw, I'm not doing it because I think a change in identity is just the interesting flair of the week. I do it because the name signifies much more to me about myself than any name I've come up with, any name I've decided to don the moniker of. And that means something to me. It means something to call this channel Star, in spite of the fact that when you look up Infinite Outlaw in the search results, I'm the only one who shows up. I'm the only Infinite Outlaw. That's good for the algorithm. That's good for watch time. Hell, it's even good for making money if I got that far. But that doesn't matter. What matters is the social relations. It's who I am to other people. and who I think I am to other people. What effect that has on other people. And so what is the point? What is the point of doing something just because I know it might make me more economically successful in the future, if ultimately that identity is a lie, is more arrogant, is more egotistical in comparison to the identity that was ultimately given to me by others, by relating myself to the identity that was given to me by others. That's humility. That's recognizing who you are as a result of the social relations that govern our lives, govern everybody's lives. It's recognizing that as I stand up here, I am Star because the people say I am Star. And I'm going to do well, not because I believe it, not because I'm cocky and arrogant, but because the people have vested their belief into me to be Star and to do infinite videos as a result of being Star, not to do infinite videos as a result of me saying I'm like that, and as a result of me espousing my accomplishments in a vain manner, making my entire name about my accomplishments because I said so. That's not what this should be about. It should be about not just who we believe we are, but who our friends believe we are. Who the people who have pulled us out of terrible places, who the people who have continued to help, who the people we love think we are. And that's why I call myself Star. That's why I've continued to call myself Star. Because when I hear the name, it doesn't just represent me. It represents the people that I love, and the people who have helped me along the way, even if some of them may not be along with me at this point. I remember the name because it has love within it. It was given to me. It was given to me as an act of friendship, and I continue using it as an act of friendship.